Welcome to the Writer Reads Short Stories. Today's short story is The Seeker from Hivrala, the second and final part. Yes, that was close, the dragon agreed, but how did they know what you had seen? That thought had been bothering Vistara too. I only tried to sell one item, she said, remembering. The merchant was interested until he saw what it was, and then he said he'd ask around, but he didn't like my luck. It was very strange. Odd, the dragon agreed. Then, hold on. Hold on? Vistara wondered, and then the beast slowed its flight, beating its wings hard to balance its descent. We're here. Vistara sat still until she was sure she had her balance, and then she slid down the dragon's shoulder to the ground. Farewell, the dragon said, its voice containing the barest of roars. Vistara stared at it in surprise. It hadn't been kidding when it had said it would learn her language faster by being inside her head. She waved as it walked to the edge of the mountain plateau, and then gasped as it leapt off. A short moment later it reappeared, soaring upwards and away on its copper-coloured wings. Copper. Now why didn't I notice that before? Vistara wondered, admiring the play of sunlight over the creature's scales. Beautiful, isn't she? The voice came from behind her, and Vistara gasped before turning to face it. Sorry, I didn't mean to startle you. Pushing aside the idea that startling her was exactly what the owner of the voice had had in mind, Vistara took in the sight before her. The plateau was really quite small, barely 3 dragons in length. No wonder her mounted worked so hard on landing. She hadn't had much room to work with, landing in a small bowl of grass and tufty bushes, half of which were cupped by cliffs reaching to the mountain's peak. Standing in front of the cliff's center was a man dressed in what looked like a baggy stealth suit, but he wasn't what caught Vistara's attention. Behind him, set into the cliffside, stood 3 doors. 3 doors. 3 questions, Vistara remembered, and looked to the man standing before them. Who are you? She asked, approaching until she stood 2 arms' lengths away. I am a gatekeeper, he said. Why am I here? You are a seeker. I am not. I beg to differ. Why? You sought the treasures beneath Hivrala, you found them, and you made them glow. And so, you are a seeker. Vistara wanted to deny it, but could not. She had indeed looked for the treasures rumoured to be hidden in Hivrala's depths. She had indeed found them and made them glow. She did not know how he knew that, nor how that made her a seeker, but his words were true. What now? She asked, her mind dry with nerves. You must ask me 3 questions, the gatekeeper replied. I've already done that. 3 questions that have greater meaning, the man explained patiently. What is a seeker? She asked, and the gatekeeper nodded. A good first question. What is your second? Vistara stared at him. He wasn't going to give her an answer? Fine. She lifted her head and glared at him, only to have him return her gaze without rancour. What is a gatekeeper? Also an excellent question. Tell me, do you have one more? What were the things I found beneath Hivrala? Now that she had started, Vistara found she had more questions. As she opened her mouth to ask them, however, the gatekeeper held up his hand. That is enough, he said. There are others who will answer the rest of what you want to know. But, Vistara started, only to have the man ignore her. In answer to your first question, seekers are those who can make the magic of tech work on this world. They carry the memory in their blood. We don't know how, we just know they do. To answer your second, gatekeepers grant seekers access to a world where tech can do no harm, and where the seekers can develop their skills without endangering an entire world and its inhabitants. As for your third question, the things you found beneath Hivrala are all that remains of an ancient civilization whose inhabitants wielded tech in much the same way as wizards handle magic, except that wizards are more responsible. The civilization was brought to ruin and tech was banned, as was blending it with magic. Very few recognize the artifacts are valuable, let alone bring them to life as you almost did. This gate is for you. And he moved to stand beside the gate to her right. But, Vestera began, and the gatekeeper held up his hand. I cannot answer any more of your questions, he told her, but there are those beyond who can. I suggest you do not keep them waiting. He gestured toward the door, and it opened. Please, go through. Vestera looked at him and then looked at the door. She thought about running, about calling for the dragon and asking it to carry her to the other side of the mountain. And then she decided it would do her no good. The gatekeepers told the dragons what to do, and if the gatekeeper wanted her to enter the rightmost door, he would hardly let the dragon carry her away. Casting one last look at the plateau, Vestera took a deep breath and walked through the door. The world that awaited her looked very different to the one she had left, but in many ways also the same. In time, she thought, I will learn exactly where I fit. Far below, at the mountain's feet, Sandfire swooped over the riders headed by the man in blue. She saw them look up, and then she passed over them and banked. They had, as she expected, reined their sweat-lathered mounts around and started charging toward her, the blue-robed man shouting as he came. "Take me!" he cried. "Take me! I am the true seeker! Take me!" Sandfire snuffed the air as she spiraled up and then descended in a lazy turn, lining up the riders and their beasts. All she smelt was the sweat of man and beast and the bitter tang of a self-deluded lie. She curled her lip and stretched her wings wide, slowing her approach. "You!" she roared. "You are no seeker. You seek knowledge that has been put beyond your grasp. You are a would-be technomancer." The riders around the man gasped. "You lie!" the man in blue screamed. "I am a seeker!" The riders scattered. Sandfire did not even bother to deny his claim. Breathing deep, she opened the pouches in her throat, closed the gateways from her nostrils to her mouth, and when she was close enough, exhaled. Her breath burned grass and bush in a straight path to where he sat, shouting at her, shouting his confession of greed, until she burnt him to ashes and melted the beast beneath him. Let them run. Let them carry the word that the man in blue had been a technomancer. It would make the rest of his guild think twice before pursuing another of the chosen out onto the plains. Technomancy was forbidden for a reason, but the gatekeepers monitored the ruins where pure tech lingered. The gatekeepers alone marked those who should be taken. The rest would find only death.